Welcome back to Game Day on Father's Day. We've got a man that will be a father at some point. I don't think he is yet, but he's a star for the Collingwood Football Club. Luke Ball, welcome to you.
You just made Mum very excited, I reckon, hearing that, but no, not yet.
OK, time. Let's go to Friday night.
Do we have to?
Well, we can move on. Sydney-Brisbane again. Let's go back to that game. Have you ever been involved in a contest where the result was so different from what was expected?
Oh, probably not. Probably the margin was not what we wanted and expected, but you know, they were unbelievable and we were poor. It's pretty simple as that.
You used the word embarrassing a lot, I think, on Friday night, and that was printed yesterday and today. Is that what you think about it 48 hours later? Yeah,
it was, and I think there was 85,000 there, and it was our home game. There were a lot of our members and supporters there, and I'd like to think we give them pretty good value for money most weeks, but we certainly didn't do that Friday night, so it was a bit embarrassing.
Luke, did you give it 100% attention the game, knowing that there was nothing to play for?
Oh, I think we did the lead in shorter. I think maybe at half time when we were 8 goals down and they kicked 10 in that second quarter, maybe you know, subconsciously we thought, is it worth putting in the effort to try and come back? But no, again, taking nothing away from Geelong, they were more desperate. They wanted it more, and the result showed that.
Well, let's have a look at the results on Friday night football. It was a thumping in the end, 96 points. The Cats' pressure magnificent, ferocious tackling, attack on the Pies extraordinary, an unexpected demolition. The worst Pies loss since 2005. They kicked the 22 of the last 26 goals, the Cats, and your youngsters, Lingy, the Kittens, were immaculate.
They were fantastic. Daniel Menzel obviously had a night out, which was terrific. And Mitch Duncan, Alan Christensen, guys like that have been able to come in and have an impact this year, have been fantastic. And I think, you know, come finals time where, you know, there's a fair bit of pace on the game and, you know, it's always hard and tight. It's important to have those young guys, to have the enthusiasm and the speed and the real burst of those young players coming in. It can have a bit of an influence come September and the big games. I suppose, Bally, you'd be the same with a lot of your younger guys as well.
Yeah, I think one of your strengths, Lingy, has always been your big hard bodies around the ball, and come finals time, that's important. But as you said, on Friday night, I think it was more the outside guys that really got a hold of us, those young guys that you mentioned, and they hit the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, and you throw Travis Varco into that as well, you know, playing a bit of a different role, coming off half back at times, half forward. I think it can just break the game open, and clearly Collingwood missed, you know, Dale Thomas, who's a quality player, Heath Shaw coming off half-back, Leon Davis as well. They probably missed that run where we had a couple of those players who were up and about and really providing us with a lot of run, and it does have an impact, and I think it'll be a different story come later on in the year. Hopefully we get to meet again, but obviously we've both got pretty big fish to fry before then.
But Dr. Ball, I won't call you that, but are you across the injuries at Collingwood? I know you can't give away too much, we know that, but yeah. We left the game. Cloak was sore, Johnson was sore, Goldsack was sore. Yeah. We've already spoken about Tarrant. How are they?
Yeah, I mean, you see Trav there just get a knock to the knee, and he's okay. He had a scan, that cleared anything, just a bit of a bruise to his knee. Goldie copped a bit of friendly fire there. He'll be a bit sore, but he'll be okay. And Taz, well, with his ankle, I think it was just a roll. He stepped on a bit of an uneven bit of turf on the MCG, which is unusual, but all three have sort of said yesterday they've come in pretty positive and that they'll get up for this week.
Just the thing you're talking about, you know, at half time, did you work out whether you're going to come back or not? I understand that Mick was pretty furious at half time, and in contrast, after the game, he was a bit more circumspect.
Yeah, he was. He was very angry at half time. More just the way we were going about it and the fact that we weren't able to stop the Cats' run on. And I know I said that, but certainly when you're out there, you're trying as hard as you can. But it was just one of those nights where you know, nothing seemed to go our way, and when Geelong get a roll on like that, it's pretty hard to stop.
And just in contrast to after the game, what was he feeling after the game?
Yeah, he actually didn't say a hell of a lot after the game. We pretty much sort of threw our clothes on and got straight back to the Westpac Centre and did our recovery. And I'm sure we've had 24 hours to stew on it now, and I'm sure the message will be tomorrow. Let's move on to the Eagles.
It's fair to say neither team really cared too much about the result. It was more about how we played, and I think the first half was the important bit. After half time, I think both teams put the cue in the rack a bit and started focusing on next week, and it's sort of hard to take a lot out of the game. You know, in the end, the result blew out to what it was, but yeah, I think I wouldn't be reading too much into the game on Friday night.
Righto, well, let's just, Bally, get you to have a look at the screen. This is, I think we've called it black and white, back and right. Nick Maxwell, he played a practice match. Will he definitely play?
If he's fit and feeling good, then he'll play.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's all mean?
Well, if he's fit, that's the question we're asking. I thought he was ready to roll.
Oh,
His thumb's okay, yeah.
I thought he was ready to roll as well. Now it's if.
Yeah.
Ball makes headlines.
Ball says Maxwell misses season. Leon Davis.
You see what the media does to us players. Just
Well, I'm
twist
just
our
learning
words
from
around.
Robbo.
What do you reckon I'm going to say for the next three?
All right, move on. They're all
Playing.
playing. Okay, and what about Nathan Buckley? There is some talk that he may play.
It was up to him, he'd play. Yeah.
Okay.
Look at the game last night, Ox, and that's the one thing that stood out, that us on ball is going to have our work cut out next week, roving to him.
Premierships are won on defence. Now, the West Coast Eagles have a potent forward line. A lot of tours with Lynch and Kennedy, Darling, Cox, Nat, Nui, also Lacroix. How are your defenders who are a little bit injured, a little bit beaten up?
Yeah.
How are you going to be able to handle that sort of firepower?
We played against them probably 10 or so weeks ago, and same thing, their forwards were up and going, so we put a fair bit of work into them. Obviously it'll help if Maxi comes up and he can play on that third tall, but I think one thing that Geelong showed on Friday night, I think at any given stage they had maybe Hunt or whoever playing on our third tall, and it just shows that if the back line can work together, that they can stop that. And also, obviously, the midfield supply is a massive thing.
It's the old-fashioned thing, isn't it? If you can put as much pressure as you possibly can through the midfield and force West Coast to rush their disposal, kick it up the chimney a little bit, gives defenders a chance to come off and help, and they're not left one out.
One question. Was Darren Jolly injured on Friday night, or did Brad Ottens just completely and utterly just beat him one-on-one?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Giles would admit that he didn't have a great night. I think he's okay. He's fine.
Okay.
Righto, who wins next weekend, Lingy? The Pies are coming off a 96-point loss. The Eagles have won by 95. In a word, who wins and why?
I'm still going with Collingwood, and I'm going with... It's the first final for a lot of the West Coast players. It's going to come down to finals experience. These guys know how to play. They know what to expect. They get themselves up for a big game. I think Collingwood will have no worries. That's nothing against West Coast, but I reckon they'll be better for the run, having played one final against Collingwood. Their second final will be a lot better than their first one.
98.8 in his year 12. So we're going to ask you some quick hands that are just to see how smart you are.
It's a myth.
First question, what is pi?
Pi, or how many decimals do you want? 3.14159, I think.
Yep. In Fahrenheit, what is normal body temperature?
Divide through about 98.6-ish.
You serious? Well, that's correct. What is the capital of Uzbekistan?
That's Tashkent. I've been there.
You're a freak. What is the number 80 on the periodic table?
Number 80.
Yep.
It's not platinum, that's 78. Mercury, the 80, I think.
What a smart ass.
That's a big performance.
Now I've got some harder questions than that.
Righto.
Who's going to win the Copeland Trophy this year?
I think Pendlebury. I think, his consistency has been amazing. I think he'd be a half a chance for the Brownlow as well.
I think he's more than half a chance to the Brownlow. And of the rising stars, there's been a lot of good young players this year. Who do you suspect?
It is a
will
great list, isn't it? I think Heppel just, I'm not sure it has any weight, but the fact that it's his first year, I think should have some weight. And the fact that he's played every game and might win Essendon's best and fairest is a huge effort. So.